Sunrise over the fjord, a land of breathtaking beauty where the mountains dive into the deep blue sea. But beauty is often brutal. We think of them as mindless barbarians, screaming for blood and fire. Stop, rewind. The reality was different. Before they were raiders, they were farmers working the Green Valley. Look at these hands, calloused by soil, not stained by blood. Planting seeds was their first battle. Winter's coming, the world turns white. For 6 months, darkness and cold will test their endurance. This is their home, a settlement teeming with life, smoke, and children. It's not a war camp, but a community. The true symbol of their society was not the sword, but the key, a bronze guardian of home and hearth. Inside, the Jarl and the freeman drink together, a society structured by rank, but bound by communal survival. Sparks fly. The blacksmith hammers a nail for a ship. Technology, not just terror, defined them. They traded furs for beads with merchants from distant Arabia. Their world was vast and cosmopolitan. A delicate comb reveals a secret. They cared more about their hair than their enemies. Strip away the romantic paintings. The reality was a mother feeding her child, fighting for the next generation. The sea was their larder. Hauling nets of cod provided what the frozen land could not. Look at the map. Arable land was scarce. Efficiency was not a choice. It was a necessity. They prayed to Freyr for growth. Life and fertility mattered as much as Odin's war. Weave in the wind. Women made the sails that powered the expansion, a rhythmic labor of skill. History lived in their words. An old man tells stories by the fire, preserving the past. A wooden toy horse, a reminder that Viking children played, laughed, and dreamed just like ours. A raven flies. Let us look at the structure that held this world together. 3 silhouettes against the sky: the rich, the free, and the enslaved. A pyramid carved in stone. At the top, the golden Jarl. In the middle, the silver Carl. At the bottom, the iron thrall. The Jarl sits high, draped in imported silk and heavy gold, reflecting the firelight of power. He is the ring giver. Loyalty was bought with generosity. Wealth had to flow to maintain power. Gold was portable. A twisted neck ring was a bank account you wore on your body. The Carl was the backbone, a farmer who worked the land, but kept his spear within reach. They built the boats, forged the knives, and brewed the ale, the engine of society. At the thing, they had a voice. Free men voted by clashing weapons against shields. Rusted tools were their prized possessions, buried with them to serve in the afterlife. But below them was the thrall, shorn hair, rough wool, carrying the heavy burden of slavery. The markets of Dublin were dark places. The economy ran on the trafficking of human lives. Inside, she grinds the grain, monotonous, back-breaking labor while the family eats by the fire. Iron shackles found in a bog, chilling proof of a life lived in chains. But hope existed. A thrall counts his savings, buying his freedom coin by coin. The freedom ale is poured, a ceremony of transformation from property to person. Mobility was possible. A successful raid could turn a farmer into a lord. The pyramid was fluid. The legend of Heimdall explains it. The gods themselves ordained the order of men. Bones tell the truth. A warrior skeleton shows signs of childhood hunger. He rose from nothing.
East
Class often trumped gender. A jarl's wife commanded respect that a male slave could only dream of. Sunset over the farm. As darkness falls, all classes retreat to the safety of the longhouse. We approach the door, laughter and smoke beckon. Let us enter their home. The longhouse, an overturned boat in a sea of grass. Turf roofs camouflage the home against the elements. Massive curved walls. This was not a hut. It was a fortress against the weather. Stepping inside, the eyes struggle. The transition from bright sun to smoky twilight is abrupt. The central hearth dominates, a long strip of fire providing the only heat and light. Smoke hangs heavy. A single beam of light cuts through the haze. Eyes watered constantly here. The cauldron bubbles. The smell of meat and wood smoke is the scent of home. Privacy was a stranger. They lived, slept, and worked side by side on the raised platforms. The high seat, carved pillars of the gods mark the master's place, the sacred center of authority. A soapstone lamp sputters, burning seal blubber to push back a long winter night. At the far end, animals chew. Cows and sheep shared the roof, their breath steaming in the dark. It was central heating, Viking style. The body heat of the herd kept the humans alive. No nails were used. Elaborate wooden joints allowed the house to flex in the storm without breaking. Night falls, the fire burns low. The sounds of snoring and animals create a cozy, wild symphony. Above, the rafters are full. Smoked ham and dried fish hang, the pantry of the household. Today, only dark circles in the soil remain. Post holes are the ghosts of these great halls. From these shadows, we reconstruct the past. A wireframe rises, rebuilding the lost architecture. At Lafator, the chieftain's house stands again, immense and imposing, a palace of wood. Life continues. A grandmother teaches the spindle. Tradition is spun into the thread of the future. Keys jingle. The woman checks the locks. In this world, she holds the power. Her face is illuminated by the fire. She is not a servant. She is the ruler of the indoors. Meet the mistress of the house. Confident in her linen dress, she stands tall in the doorway. The bronze keys at her belt are symbols of absolute authority. She controls the food and thus the life. When the husband sails, she takes charge. Directing thralls and harvest, she is the boss. She weighs silver. Women owned land, ran businesses, and held economic power. Marriage was a contract of equals. Swords were exchanged, a partnership of lineages. Divorce was a right. I declare myself divorced from you. A bold statement of independence. She repeats it at the door. If he failed her, she could leave. And she took her dowry back, economic leverage that protected her from mistreatment. On the battlefield, myths blur with reality. The Shield Maiden fights, a legend born of fierce women. A silver Valkyrie pendant, even their mythology revered the armed female spirit. Grave BJ 581 in Burka, a warrior buried with full honors and weapons. For a century we thought it was a man. DNA proved us wrong. 20 chromosomes. A female commander. Her face reconstructed, scarred and commanding. She played the game of war and won. The Oseberg ship, a magnificent burial for 2 women. Queens or priestesses, they ruled. At the loom, she weaves. Like the Norns weaving fate, her domestic work was spiritual. Contrast her with her southern sisters. While Europe covered its women, the Viking woman walked with her head high. Ordered the deep-minded commanded a ship, a widow who settled Iceland on her own terms. Mothers taught the lore. They were the keepers of culture, passing wisdom to the next generation. She picks up a comb. They were fierce, but they were also vain. The comb glides through blonde hair. Forget the dirty movie, barbarian. That image shatters like glass against the truth.
Forget what you saw in the movies.
Saturday is Lager washing day. The sauna steams. They obsessed over cleanliness. English monks complained. These Danes comb their hair daily, and thus steal the hearts of our women. The antler comb, the most common artifact of the age, more precious to them than a sword. Tweezers and ear spoons hung from belts, a grooming kit for the well-kept raider. Strong lye soap bleached their hair blonde. The beauty standard was bright and lace-free. Trimming beards was social bonding. They groomed each other with care. The reverse mullet, a practical hairstyle for helmets depicted in the Bayeux tapestry. Dark kohl lined their eyes, beauty that also protected against the glare of the sun. Colors exploded from the vats, red, blue, yellow. They did not live in a brown world. A wealthy jarl dressed like a peacock, silk embroidery and fur, flaunting his success. Glass beads from the Middle East, colorful treasures worn around the neck. Tortoise brooches held up the dress, amber and silver draped between them. Arm rings were wearable currency. He would hack a piece off to pay. Hack silver. Arabic script woven into fabric. Their fashion was global, influenced by Persia. Turn shoes were soft and flexible, practical for the deck of a ship or a silent hunt. In winter, they wrapped in fur, survival gear against the freezing wind. Look at them, clean, combed, colorful, and sparkling with silver. This is the real Viking. The smell of food wafts through the air. The feast is being prepared. A knife cuts into smoked meat. Sizzling fat promises survival. In the north, calories meant life. Fat was gold. The diet was dense and fueling. 2 meals a day, morning porridge, evening stew, a simple rhythm of sustenance. Wooden racks hold thousands of drying cod. Stockfish preserved by the wind could last for years. A sailor tears it with his teeth. This protein bar fueled the crossing of the Atlantic. Skyr, thick, creamy yogurt. A superfood then, and a superfood now. The cauldron bubbles, kale, onions, mutton, a stew that warmed the soul. Dense flatbread baked on hot stones, heavy with barley and rye. No forks, a sharp knife and a spoon were all you needed. Water was unsafe. Weak ale was the water of life for everyone, even children. Mead was liquid gold, honey and yeast, reserved for the noble toast. The drinking horn has no bottom. You must drain it or pass it. It forced you to drink deep. A jarl holds it high, bonding over the flow of alcohol. echo, the horns clash. Eyes meet in the firelight, brotherhood forged in mead. Walnuts and wine from Francia. The rich enjoyed the taste of the South. Mustard, dill, coriander, they spiced their meat. The food was flavorful, not bland. The hall is loud and chaotic. Dogs fight, poets recite, an immersive feast.
Their glory in battle.
Drunken arguments turned to hugs. Alcohol lubricated their politics and their vows. Dawn brings the hangover. Even Vikings paid the price for the night before. A rooster crows. The sun rises. The work begins again. A farmer walks out with a scythe. Before the raid, there was the harvest. For every Viking who sailed, 10 stayed home to farm. The silent majority who fed the age. Spring plowing was a struggle against the rock. Oxen pulling the ard through frozen soil. Seeds fall into the dark earth, a gamble with nature for the coming year. Rusted tools, hoes and sickles, simple technology that sustained a civilization. Summer meant haymaking, furious work to cut the grass. Hay was life. Without it, the cattle died. Sheep grazed the hills, the most valuable animal, providing meat, milk, and wool. Plucking the wool by hand, oily and thick, ready for the loom. It took more hours to make the wool sail than to build the ship itself. Farming powered the raise. Autumn gold, harvesting the grain with iron sickles before the sun failed. Grinding flour, the repetitive sound of stone on stone, preparing for winter bread. Winter nights brought the slaughter. Excess cattle were cold, a sacrifice to gods and practicality. Smoke and salt preserved the meat, a race against rot for the long dark ahead. Inside, they manufactured, carving wood, repairing nets. Vikings did not hibernate. Childhood was short. By age 12, a boy was doing the work of a man. The blacksmith's hammer rang out, repairing the plowshare, the most respected craft. Smelting bog iron, a dirty, smelly industry that forged their world. The storehouse is full. A relieved Jarl surveys the grain. He has bought another year of life. But boundaries breed conflict. Two farmers argue over land. To the thing, they shout, seeking justice in the law. Thingvellir, a rocky amphitheater where men gather to decide their fate. The law speaker recites the code from memory. He is the living constitution. Vatn attack, weapons clash against shields, the thunderous vote of free men, democracy, Viking style. Wordgild, the man price, silver weighed on scales to pay for a life. Justice was restorative, but honor demanded blood. A glove is thrown, Holmgang is challenged. An ox hide staked on the ground, the arena. To step outside is to lose your honor. They fight, brutal but regulated. Shields are changed as they break. Splinters fly, a battle of attrition on the hide. First blood spilled. Often that was enough. The law was satisfied. The nithing pole, a horse's head, cursed the enemy. Shame was a weapon. For the worst crimes, outlawry, forest walker stripped of all rights. Social death. He runs into the trees, a wolf in holy places. Anyone can kill him. Living in a cave, he is sentenced to death by nature. Back in the village, greed breeds conflict. Gambling leads to disputes. A hand places the king from the game of law to the game of strategy. Lewis chessmen, fierce little warriors biting their shields. Winter nights are long. The longhouse is the refuge for games. Outside they played hard, gliding on wooden skis. Hunting with a bow on snow, sport and survival blurred. Down the mountain, they mastered the snow with a single pole. Were the god on skis, their religion embraced the cold. Bone skates scrape the ice, fun on the frozen lake. Glima wrestling, a test of strength and balance in the circle. Lifting stones, proving manhood to earn a seat at the oar. Henefatav, the king's table, a game of siege and escape. Defend against superior numbers. It taught tactics for the battlefield. The Jarl thinks. The game board becomes the map of war. Children fought with wooden swords. Play was preparation. A toy boat. Dreams of sailing began in a puddle. The Skald rises, the historian and entertainer. Alliterative verse, hypnotic rhythm telling tallies of heroes. Smoke becomes dragons, the magic of the spoken word. Glory of a great name, the quest for fame drove them.
From the
Bone
ashes
flutes
of
played
Muspelheim,
soulful
the
tunes.
shadow dragon awakened, its roar shaking the very halls of the gods.
Young love whispered in the dark. They were human. Runes carved on a stick. Magic words. Kiss me, darling. A tender message from the past. The fire dies. Sleep comes to the longhouse. Northern lights dance. The legacy begins. Odin versus the White Christ. Fierce magic meets organized power. The pragmatic trader accepts baptism for business. A mold for both hammer and cross, the blacksmith served all gods. Jesus added to the pantheon, just another god next to Thor. The Jelen stones, Denmark's birth certificate carved in runes. Christ the warrior, reimagined as a strong chieftain to win their respect. Political baptism, kings converted for alliances. Burial replaced burning, the smoke of the Viking age cleared. Stave churches rose, wooden cathedrals with dragon heads. Myths on the cross, using Ragnarok to explain the new faith. Slavery ended. The church killed the engine of the Viking economy. The quill replaced the rune. Civilization was recorded. Assimilation. The Northman became a citizen. The last berserker sacrifices in secret. His world is disappearing. The golden vein moves from ship to steeple.
I am finished with the sea. This is my home now.
Towns replaced chaos. Kingdoms stabilized. Borders were drawn. Scandinavia united. (1066). The death of Harald Hardrada marked the end. Wind blows on a burial mound. The modern world encroaches. A highway runs past the ancient dead. Thursday is Thor's Day. We invoke them every week. Knife, window, egg. Their words are in our mouths. The Elthingi. The oldest parliament still stands. DNA maps light up. They are still among us. The face morphs. The Viking lives on in the modern man. No horns. The opera myth is crossed out. The spectacle helm. Practical protection for a practical people. Anderson, Johnson. Names that echo the past. Sunstones navigate. Lost technology rediscovered. Pharaoh boats race. The perfect design never changed. Skiing is a global sport. A gift from Uller. Lanso Meadows, first in America, long before Columbus. The Normans. Viking blood sits on the British throne. Pop culture embraces the cool factor. Valhalla is digital now. Not for hate. True Viking society was multicultural and open. Global traders. Coins from everywhere mixed together. Modern women lead. The legacy of the keykeepers. The spirit of exploration drives us into the storm. A heartbeat. The fire fades. An old hand feeds the dying ember. The tapestry falls. They chose their own patterns. Faces of the North. Creators first, destroyers second. Hands that forged, plowed, and loved. Fire, water, earth, air, the elements of their world. The judgment of a dead man's life. Glory is the only thing that lasts. A ship leaves at sunrise, not for war, but for discovery. She waves goodbye. Life goes on. Generations pass, the spirit remains. Credits roll on parchment, tools of daily life sketched by. Artifacts rotate, the material culture of a people. The sound of the north, waves and leers. A raven looks down at the earth. The perspective was always global.